for the good of the cause. All right, very good. So for our final of the 4 weeks of stewardship, our final speaker is our very own Father Fred. So Fred, the floor is yours.
Seems like we ought to stretch or sing a hymn or something. Greetings, and it's nice for Diana and me to be here after receiving our first vaccine. Thanksgiving is a big piece of stewardship. As good stewards, we live responsibly with what we're given. And the first thing is to recognize all of that. What we have has been given to us. There's no such thing as a self-made man. So the first thing is to be thankful. And what we have is not an end in itself. More is not necessarily merrier. Some of that we learn as little children. Remember the mite boxes. We filled Lenten mite boxes and proceeded forward to the altar on Easter Day, and we felt really rich and good. We were little, and not knowing any better, we felt proud as we marched forward with it. We learn all of this as we grow in our families and in the church. Memories such as the jumping up and down excitement of a present you knew somebody else was getting. The Episcopal Church ordains clergy to lead the church, but stewardship program is pretty much a vestry operation. I've never been to a vestry meeting at All Angels, but I've spent many hours at vestry meetings. But we all can see that Sandy Wood does a lot here, and that's something each of us might be thankful for. Good Shepherd, Reading, Massachusetts, was my first parish. I was barely 30, and what did I know? One member of the search committee told me after the event that what he liked about me was that I'd said I'd need a lot of help. And it was true. For salesmen, I learned that Reading, Massachusetts is the center of the universe. It's right at the cross-section of Route Interstate 93 and Interstate 95. How much better does it get northwest of Boston? When a meeting of canvassers were called, 35 members arrived. Why? Well, one thing was they knew the person who called a meeting liked short meetings. When the 35 finished the meeting, they had canvassed one another and each walked away with, at the most, 2 visits to make. St. James, my last parish, was a very different story. I arrived to a parish that had been jilted. They'd sent thank you notes to the clergy who were not chosen, and then the parish was unchosen by the chosen one. It was not until August and my second meeting with the vestry that I learned they had no one heading stewardship for the fall. So I put together a stewardship letter and handled the thank you notes myself. One of my favorite biblical lines is from Isaiah. Extend the tent pegs of your heart. That's 54, verse 2. Many years ago, my father, then Bishop of Michigan, wrote a forward movement stewardship pamphlet entitled The Modern Tithe. He spoke of the biblical commitment in modern times to include charitable giving, international rescue, and Doctors Without Borders, to name a couple. We know and we love All Angels. We love the people, the buildings, the grounds. We love her first family. And we love to worship here. We've seen the budget. We know the need to balance it. Remember inflation. For so many, it makes the pathway of our children and grandchildren a harder climb. Same for parish budgets. I hope when we pledge that we might find a way to increase what we give over last year's pledge. And let us extend the tent pegs of our hearts.
Let us walk in love as Christ loved us and gave himself as an offering and a sacrifice to God.